Let us begin with a very simple, yet often overlooked truth. Life is not a rehearsal. This moment, this breath, this opportunity, this space where you and I now exist, it is not a trial run. It is the real scene. And in this scene, you are not an extra. You are not someone in the background, silently waiting for direction. You are the director of your own life. I say this not as a poetic metaphor, but as a truth that must be realized through direct experience. And once you begin to live from this truth, something begins to shift in you, something powerful. You stop looking outward for guidance. You stop waiting for the right moment, the right person, the right situation to save you or give you permission to act. Instead, you begin to look inward. You begin to direct with clarity, with presence, with discipline. It's easy, of course, to forget this. Society teaches us, often unconsciously, to fall in line, to conform, to follow scripts handed to us by our parents, our teachers, our cultures, even by our fears. But let me ask you a question. If you do not write the script of your life, then who will? If you do not decide where the story goes, then who is truly living your life? When I walk with students through the forest, sometimes in silence, sometimes with instruction, one thing becomes clear to those who are paying attention. Nature does not wait for instructions. The tree does not ask whether it should grow. The river does not wait for permission to flow. The clouds do not second-guess their path across the sky. They simply are. And in that being, they fulfill their purpose. But we humans, we hesitate, we doubt, we overthink, we question whether we are ready, whether we are worthy, whether we have what it takes to lead. And in this hesitation, we delay our lives. But let me remind you of this. There is no script more powerful than the one you choose to write with your own hands, using your own values, with the ink of your own experience. Now, I want you to imagine for a moment that your life is a movie, a great epic. And right now the cameras are rolling, the audience is watching. Maybe no one can see it from the outside, but your spirit knows. This is your scene, this is your moment. What kind of scene will you create? Will it be one of procrastination, excuses, waiting, blaming others for your delay? Or will it be a scene of clarity, of action, of conscious choice? You see, in martial arts, we learn not just how to move, but why we move. Every strike, every block, every breath must be intentional. There is no room for randomness, and in life it is the same. You must become intentional with how you spend your time, with whom you associate, with what thoughts you feed yourself. If you are not conscious, you will be controlled, not by someone else, but by your own unconscious patterns. To be the director of your own life means you wake up each morning with responsibility, not just for what you will do, but for who you will become. This is a sacred responsibility, because once you realize you are the one who calls action, you also realize you are the one who must bring discipline to the set. You must cut the scenes that no longer serve your purpose. You must change the music when it no longer matches your energy. You must let go of characters who keep repeating the same toxic dialogue over and over again. Some people find this frightening. They prefer someone else to tell them what to do, when to wake up, when to rest, what goal to pursue, what dream to abandon. But I tell you, freedom begins the moment you accept that no one is coming to direct your life but you. Let me speak to those of you who feel lost, who say, Shi Heng Yi, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know where to go next. That is fine, that is honest. But do not remain in that place. Begin to move. Take action, even if it is small, because clarity comes from engagement, not from overthinking. A director learns by directing. A life is shaped by living. And now let us speak about the script you are currently reading from. So many of us are walking around carrying scripts that were never written by us. These scripts are old, outdated, handed down from generations, from broken systems, from fearful voices, and yet we cling to them as if they are the only story available to us. How many times have you said to yourself, I'm not good at this, or I could never do that, or that kind of life is not meant for someone like me? These are not truths. These are lines in a script that you did not write. They were planted in you. But just because something was planted does not mean it must grow. You have the power to uproot, you have the power to rewrite. In the monastery, we have a phrase, empty your cup. Why? Because a cup that is already full cannot receive anything new. Likewise, if your mind is full of old narratives, limiting beliefs, and inherited doubts, there is no space for new understanding, for new strength to enter. So begin with awareness. What are the repeating lines in your inner dialogue? I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too tired, I've already failed, they won't understand, it's not the right time. These lines become your truth only if you keep rehearsing them. So stop rehearsing defeat, start rehearsing power. You have the power to write a new script, one that reflects your values, your spirit, your calling. But you must do this consciously, and you must understand rewriting the script is not a comfortable process. You will face resistance from others, yes, but most of all from yourself. Why? Because the mind prefers familiarity. It prefers the safety of the known, even if that known is painful. Your old script may be full of sadness, of anger, of resignation, but because you know it so well, the mind clings to it. And yet, you must be stronger than the mind. You must become the master, not the servant. Direct the mind, don't let the mind direct you. And so I challenge you tonight, before you sleep, take a moment of silence. Ask yourself, what part of my life am I still letting someone else direct? And then go deeper. Ask, what story have I been repeating that no longer serves who I want to become? Write it down, see it clearly, and then decide to let it go. From that space of clarity, begin to write again. Not pages of fantasy or illusion, but a grounded, intentional vision of your life. A script that includes struggle, yes, but also strength. Pain, yes, but also perseverance. Moments of doubt, but also the discipline to keep going. Let your story be real. Let it be yours. You are not a character in someone else's movie. You are the director of your own. And now I wish to speak directly to those who feel they have wasted time, who say to themselves, but Shi Heng Yi, I have already lived so many years under someone else's influence. I have already gone down the wrong path. I have missed too many chances. To this, I say, the director does not waste time reviewing every failed scene. He learns, he edits, he continues. There is no wasted time, only unlearned lessons. Look back only to understand, never to punish yourself. The new script is not about erasing the past, it is about integrating it, using it as fuel, as depth, as authenticity. What makes a story beautiful is not its perfection, but its transformation. And you, my friend, are still transforming. Every breath you take is a new scene, every sunrise is a new beginning, but only if you claim it, only if you direct it. So I ask you again, what kind of story do you want your life to be? Is it the story of a person who waited for the right moment only to watch it pass by? Or is it the story of someone who took the pen back into their hands and rewrote everything? If your life were a movie, would you be proud of the role you are playing? If the answer is no, then today is your chance to begin again. You have permission, not from me, not from the world, but from yourself. It is often said that you become like the people you spend the most time with. And I can tell you, from a life of discipline, introspection, and observation, this is not just a saying, it is a law of nature. Like water that takes the shape of its container, the energy, habits, and mindset of those around you will shape your spirit, even when you do not notice. So the question you must ask yourself is not only, who am I becoming? but also who am I allowing to shape me? When I speak to students from all walks of life, corporate leaders, athletes, spiritual seekers, they often ask me about the secret to inner strength, and I always tell them it does not come from reading more books or doing more push-ups or sitting longer in meditation. Those are tools. True inner strength arises when you guard the space around your heart and mind as fiercely as a warrior guards a temple. And that begins with one thing, your circle. In every great mission, whether in martial arts, in business, or in life, there is a team, a crew. But not all teams lead you to mastery. Some lead you to mediocrity. Some people in your life are like candles, they light your path. Others are like smoke, they blur your vision. So I ask you, look around. Who are your companions? Who are the voices you allow to echo inside your mind? We are not meant to walk this path alone, but we must walk it wisely. I will give you an example from my own experience. In the monastery, every monk must learn to work in harmony with others. We train together, we eat together, we meditate in silence, side by side. But we are not the same. Some are more disciplined, some are more distracted, some lift others up, some carry the weight of negativity. It is easy to become influenced by others, especially when we do not recognize it. I remember in my early years of training, I was influenced by someone who always complained, always. Every task was too hard, every morning was too early, every correction from the master was taken as a personal attack. Slowly I noticed that my own thoughts began to mimic his. I would wake up with heaviness, I would look at the training not with eagerness, but with resentment. And then one day I sat in meditation and asked myself, who is speaking in my mind right now? Is it me or is it someone else's voice I've allowed in? That realization changed me. You see, your circle is like your crew on a great ship. When the sea is calm, you may not notice who is on board. But when the storm comes, and the storm always comes, it becomes clear who rows with you and who silently drills holes beneath the deck. Are the people around you rowing with your dreams, or are they pulling you back into comfort, fear, and doubt? Let me explain something deeper, beyond motivation. Every human being emits an energy, an unseen field. It is shaped by their habits, their thoughts, their words, and their actions. When you spend time with someone, you enter that energy field. If someone lives with jealousy, with laziness, with gossip, with judgment, that vibration enters your space. Slowly, without noticing, your focus weakens, your energy dims, your purpose becomes clouded. So many people believe that the biggest obstacle to growth is lack of motivation. That is not true. Often, the obstacle is proximity to people who normalize weakness. People who will say, take a break, you deserve it when you need to keep going. People who say, don't try so hard, you'll fail anyway, because they are afraid of your success. People who celebrate your past but feel threatened by your future. This is not love, this is not support, this is distraction wearing the mask of friendship. A real friend, a real companion does not comfort your excuses. A real ally challenges you, pushes you, holds you accountable to the vision you declared on your best day when your mind was clear and your soul was loud. A true member of your crew is someone who does not let you sink into mediocrity just because it's comfortable. They will say, I know you're tired, but your purpose is greater than your pain. They will tell you the truth even when it hurts because they care more about your growth than your approval. Now, for many people, this is hard to hear because it means you must let go. You must walk away from some people you have known for years. You must say no to gatherings, conversations, and connections that no longer serve your higher path. But remember, solitude is not loneliness. Solitude is space. It is where the spirit sharpens. It is where the truth becomes loud. You cannot become a master if you are surrounded by noise. There is a teaching in Shaolin that says, if you walk with warriors, your spirit becomes a blade. If you walk with beggars, your spirit becomes a bowl. Both paths are possible, but both lead to different destinies. Which one are you choosing? I will give you another story. There was a young disciple who came to the monastery. He was strong, sharp, focused, but after several weeks, his motivation began to fade. His posture collapsed. His discipline weakened. One evening I called him aside and asked, "Who are you spending time with after training?" He named a few others. Monks who were casual, often distracted, not yet serious about the way. I said to him, "Energy is contagious. Either you are lifting others up or they are pulling you down. Choose your crew wisely." The next week, he changed his circle. He began spending time with the most focused students. And slowly, his fire returned, his strength multiplied, and in time he became one of the most respected warriors we had. This is not about judging others. Everyone walks their own path at their own pace. But you must be honest about the direction you are walking. If your path is toward mastery, you cannot walk with those who are satisfied with mediocrity. If your goal is clarity, you cannot spend your time in circles of confusion. If your purpose is deep, do not share it in shallow spaces. And it is not only people, it is also the content you consume, the music you listen to, the words you speak, the environments you visit. All of these are part of your crew. They are either guiding your ship or steering it off course. If your life feels chaotic, unclear, or uninspired, look not at your goals, look at your circle. Some people will say, "But I cannot walk away. They are family, they are my childhood friends, and I understand this." But wisdom does not always require you to leave someone behind. Sometimes it simply means creating space, loving from a distance, speaking less, sharing less, protecting your vision until it is strong enough to withstand the wind. In the journey of personal transformation, you must protect your environment like a sacred temple. You would not let someone walk into your home with muddy shoes and stomp across the floor. So why allow people into your mind, your heart, your energy who bring chaos, doubt, and fear? If you want to elevate your life, elevate your circle. Seek those who live with purpose. Seek those who are humble in victory and graceful in struggle. Those who do not just talk but act, who do not only dream but do. When you find such people, hold them close. Learn from them, sharpen with them. This is the way of the warrior, not to walk alone, but to walk with those who walk with honor. I will tell you something deeply true. Your destiny is not just shaped by your decisions. It is shaped by your discipline in choosing your environment. And that includes people. In every great journey, there are people you must thank and people you must forgive and release. Let go with love. Wish them well, but do not slow your pace for those who do not wish to rise. And if you cannot find such a circle yet, do not be afraid. You are not alone. Use this time to build yourself. Read, reflect, train, walk, create. And in time, those who resonate with your energy will appear. Not because you sought them, but because you became someone they were seeking too. This is what it means to cast wisely. Not just to fill the space around you, but to fill it intentionally. Because your crew, your circle, your companions are not just part of the story. They shape the direction of the entire journey. Be wise, be watchful, and walk with those who remind you of who you truly are. When people come to me and say, "Master, I wish I could go back and erase that part of my life," I always look into their eyes and tell them, if you remove that part, you will also remove the lesson. And if you remove the lesson, you also remove the depth that makes your spirit powerful. You see, many want their life to look like a perfect painting, smooth strokes, no blemishes, no smudges. But real life, real growth, it is not like a perfect painting. It is more like a sculpture, something that must be chiseled, something where pieces are broken off, where you do not add more, you remove what is not necessary. And sometimes it feels like life is carving through you, like it is taking pieces of you away. But that is how the most powerful version of you is revealed. Too many people spend their energy trying to cut out the parts of their life they are ashamed of. They try to hide the mess, they try to delete the unedited cuts of their journey, the parts where they fell, where they doubted, where they failed, where they were lost. But what they don't understand is this: those are the most important chapters in your story, not the glamorous parts, not the awards, not the praises. No, What shapes a human being, what cultivates strength, clarity, and wisdom are the raw, painful, unedited cut. You must not be ashamed of them, you must honor them. If you were to watch a film and everything goes perfectly from beginning to end, no struggle, no difficulty, no obstacle, tell me, would you be inspired by such a movie? Would you even remember it? No, because it wouldn't be real. What touches your heart when you watch a film? What stays with you long after it ends? It is when the hero falls, when he's betrayed, when she gets broken, when there is doubt, when it feels hopeless. And yet, somehow, through the silence, through the pain, they rise, they get back up, they walk forward. That is what we remember. That is what speaks to the soul. And in the same way, your own life story becomes meaningful, not because everything was perfect, but because you had the courage to keep going, even when it wasn't. Sometimes we suffer so much from the pressure of perfection. We scroll through 1,000 images of people who seem to have their life in order. We compare our behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. And then we start to judge our unedited parts. The arguments, the heartbreaks, the bad decisions, the days we felt weak. And I tell you, this is the great mistake of modern living. It is the illusion of perfection. The mask, the performance. But in the tradition I come from, we are not taught to chase perfection. We are taught to practice presence and to understand the necessity of suffering, because it is through suffering that we come to know ourselves. The warrior does not become skilled in times of ease. He becomes skilled when he trains in the rain, when his feet are blistered, when his heart is heavy. But he continues, so you must not run from your unedited scenes. Instead, you sit with them, you breathe through them, you observe them, and then you ask, what was this here to teach me? Because the pain you try to bury will always come back. It will find you in the silence of the night. It will come when you are alone. But when you finally allow yourself to feel it fully, honestly, without resistance, something shifts inside you. There is a transformation. You become bigger than the pain, and now you carry the lesson, not the wound. There is a great teaching in the Taoist tradition that the obstacle is not something you go around. It is something you go through, like a river that meets a rock. It doesn't complain. It flows around it, yes, but over time it shapes it. And the same is true for your painful moments. They are not here to block you. They are here to shape you, to give your story depth, to make your spirit strong. Sometimes when I reflect on my own journey, I remember the moments where I was not at peace. The days where I doubted if I had what it took. The days where I thought of leaving the temple. The days where I felt like a failure. I could choose to forget them, but I do not, because those moments were my teachers. And they are part of the reason I can now speak to you from this place of clarity. You must realize that every scene in your life, even the broken ones, are part of a greater design. And the design is not always visible in the moment. But if you continue walking, if you continue trusting, you will one day look back and say, now I see. That breakdown led to my breakthrough. That loss taught me value. That rejection pointed me toward my path. When we are inside the storm, we think we are being destroyed. But very often the storm is only removing what is not true. It is clearing what is not needed, so that your true self can emerge. Do not be afraid of the scenes that show your weakness. They show your humanity. And the more honest you become about your story, the more powerful your presence becomes. Because people do not resonate with perfection. They resonate with truth. They feel your truth. And it gives them permission to embrace their own. Sometimes I meet people who say, but Master, I made so many mistakes. And I smile and I say, good. That means you tried. That means you dared. That means you lived. To be human is to stumble, to question, to fall down and rise again. If you were born already perfect, already wise, then what would be the point of life? No, you are here to learn, to grow. And that means there will be unedited moments. There will be chapters you wish you could rewrite, but instead of rewriting them, learn to reframe them. Say to yourself, that version of me didn't know what I know now, but I honor them. because they walked so that I could arrive here. Think of the caterpillar. It crawls, it struggles, and then it dissolves inside a cocoon. And that dissolving process, it is painful. It is the death of one form. And yet, from that chaos, the butterfly emerges. This is nature. This is transformation. It is messy. It is raw, but it is real. And your life is no different. So stop waiting to become perfect before you start showing up in the world. Stop editing yourself so much that you forget who you are. Your scars, your stumbles, your lessons. They are your story, and they are valuable. You want to connect with others? Then stop pretending. Speak from the parts of you that are still healing. Share the journey, not just the destination. Show people that you are still learning, still walking, and still rising. In the monastery, we have a saying, do not aim for a clean robe if your heart is in knots. It means do not worry so much about appearances. What matters is your inner honesty, your sincerity, your willingness to keep learning. If you are broken, but be broken with dignity, with presence, with the awareness that this is not your end, it is your forging. Like metal in the fire, you are being shaped, hardened, tempered, and one day your strength will be unshakable, not because you never broke, but because you learned how to rebuild. I have met people who have gone through deep suffering, loss of family, betrayal, poverty, disease, and yet there is a light in their eyes, a calm in their voice, a groundedness in their presence. And when I ask them, how did you survive? They do not say it was easy. They say, I didn't run. I sat with the pain. I let it speak, and then I chose to rise anyway. This is the essence of true power. And you, wherever you are in your journey, you carry this same potential. But only if you stop trying to cut out your past and instead allow it to become part of your foundation. A warrior does not hide his scars. He wears them because they are proof that he has faced battle and lived to tell the story. And when others see those scars, they do not see weakness. They see strength. They see resilience. So I ask you now, what are the unedited parts of your life that you still judge? What scenes are you trying to delete? What moments do you carry shame for? Now I want you to breathe gently, deeply, and I want you to imagine standing before that past version of yourself, the one who made that mistake, the one who got hurt, the one who didn't know better. And I want you to say to them, I see you, I forgive you, thank you for getting me this far. I will carry your lessons, not your guilt. Because when you do this, when you truly embrace all of you, something shifts. You stop resisting the journey, you stop running, and now you walk forward with a kind of inner peace, a quiet strength, because you no longer fear the fall. You have already fallen and you rose. And now you know that no scene, no matter how messy, can stop your story from unfolding. The question is not whether you will fall, you will. The question is, when you do, will you get back up with more grace, more awareness, more compassion? That is the power of the unedited cut. It humbles you, it softens you, but it also strengthens you. It gives your story meaning. It gives your presence weight. So let others chase perfection. Let others hide behind masks. But you walk your path with truth, with honesty, with the full acceptance of your past. Because when you do this, when you embrace even the darkest chapters of your life, you no longer live in fear, you live in freedom.